Okay. Welcome, folks. Afreilich and Lag Baimer to everyone. Happy Lag Baimer, a wonderful Lag Baimer. Celebrate Lag Baimer with great joy. This is the day of the Rashbi, the day of Rav Shimon Bar Yochai, who passed away and told his students, which we are all indirectly his students, that this is a time to celebrate. So let us celebrate. When does a person show great love to another? When do you reciprocate to someone who has shown you great, great, great love? When is it? Anyone want to stab a guess at it? Let me see. Sarah Dreyfus, welcome. I don't know if you have a mazel tov yet, but good to see you're here. Hope you're well. And mazel tov. Very nice. So keep me posted. Good to see you joined from the Holy Land. So, anybody have a comment on that? So, it's not so much as the saying goes, what a person does, but it's the thought that it's not so much not the thought that counts, but what we really reciprocate is the effort that was put in. And when you see or when you experience that someone put great, great effort, and not just great effort of going out of their way, but going out of their comfort zone to do something for you, that's when you really reciprocate. And how should you reciprocate? In kind. You go out of your way. You go out of your comfort zone. That's a true friendship. That's a true expression of love when you do something in that manner. So, with this, let's understand. And in a way, we kind of have to take this, if you will, we have to understand, we have to appreciate the metaphor of it. In a sense. I don't know the metaphors. I take that back, the word metaphor. But in a sense, take it metaphorically. Now, what did God do for me? Ask a person always, what did you do for me recently? Well, I'll tell you what God does for you for every moment. God is infinite, and what he does is, in order to make room for me, that I should be, he has to contract upon himself. He has to remove his infinite nature. And this is something we learned in the previous chapter. Because if not, there will not be me as an independent being who senses their own personhood. There wouldn't be. That all what would evolve from God is an infinite sort of person. But God, out of the love that He has for us, that wants us to have our separate identity and to be me, He has to contract, hold back on His infinite nature. And He does so in the world of Atzilus, which would be is an infinite world, but it's a world that's infinite. Kind of a paradox, right? How's a world infinite? But okay, it's another discussion. But then He contracts upon that to create something from nothing. There were a something. And coming from His no thing, from His infinite being, right? That there were a something that's a limited thing. The world of Bria, which is compared to Yetzira, a lot more ephemeral, ethereal, a lot more spiritual, and the sense of independence is not so great. So He contracts upon that. Such a contraction that brings out a world of Yetzira, and then even more so on the world of Asiya, the world of action, and then a physical world. Why does He do that? So there's an idea that love compels the flesh, squeezes you, it holds you back, refrains, right? Like the parent who wants their child to learn to walk. The child would just love to be cradled in the infinite love of the parent. But love compels the flesh that this is a greater love that holds back the parent, puts down the child, allows the child to take that first step. What is that first step? Independence. Yeah, but hey, shouldn't you be dependent on your source? Well, real love compels the flesh, allows you to remove yourself. Right? How difficult is it, you know, when the child has been living with you in your home and now you're happy for them, they're getting married. But on one hand, you know, yeah, some parents you just want to get them out of the house. But we're talking about a real love and devotion, a real good parent and a real good child. No, on one hand, you don't, because it's such a bond in the closest. But on the other hand, real love compels the flesh, holds you back, squeezes you, and allows you to make space for the child. Well, that's what God did for us. He made space that I should be. And that's out of His great love. And why does He do that? Because now I could truly um, fulfill a purpose and be a partner in creation with God. And not just to be a child that's held by the parent, by the mother, right? First in the womb, and then, you know, cuddled together. You know, my wife, how much did she love, cuddling with the newborn, the 3-month-old who now smiled a little, and being able to have that nurturing, and you know, yet the real love is when you can put yourself aside, right? And that's what God does. He puts an infinite uh, 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 personhood, so to speak, right? Puts it aside for what purpose? For me. So now that I could have a life, what kind of life? Well, that I could contract upon myself, on my animal self, and serve God by transforming my negative nature of the animal soul, by either transforming it or or setting it aside in order that I could connect back to God and then elevate not just my divine soul that's hidden within me, that that love of God, but um, my animal nature, my body, that has its own agenda, and now reconnected with God. And that, then how do I do that? In a manner of reciprocating, in the way God did. He put himself aside. I put myself aside. I put aside my agenda. My agenda is, my survival, right? Survival materially, emotionally to survive, psychologically to survive. I put that all aside. For what? For God, to reciprocate the love that he shows me and to do what he needs from me, what his divine plan is. I'll even put aside that things, whether it's money, even, the other time says wife and children. Now, what it means wife and children over here is that the nature of a person is to do for their wife and children, but they're doing it for their own benefit. Here, do for your family for the divine benefit, not because it makes you feel good, not because you know, it's not your kids are going to nag if you don't, do for them, and so on. No, do reciprocate and reciprocate the love that God shows us, and even the human love that you have, making it into divine love for your family. That's who and what we are. That's a true connection. All right. Any questions? Any comments? We got another minute. Got another minute? Yeah. Got another minute. Survive, serve high. Very good. Thank you, Henya. All right. Yeah. All right, folks. I don't see any questions here. Any thoughts to share? A beautiful thought here on this amazing day, Lag Baimer, the 33rd day of the Aimer. Depend on Reb Shimon Bar Yochai. He's dependable. All the holy righteous people, we can depend on them. All right, folks. Have a wonderful Lag Baimer, a good Erev Shabbos, a wonderful Shabbos.